almost didn't make a video and just did a post, a community post, but work harder. This is my message to you. If you don't want to do anything, if you don't feel like doing anything and you've been doing a lot for the day's not over. And time's not going to wait for you. Work harder. Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? How's your mama? How's your family? UFC 315 is coming to us. I'm going to do my quick picks and predictions and breakdowns and maybe give a little betting tips as well. Betting video is going to drop tomorrow. Sorry for getting this to you so late, but you don't want to hear no excuses. This is what it is, right? First fight of the night, Brad Katona versus Bekzat Amakan. At first, I was all over Bekzat. I'm like, I fell for the trap that a lot of people fell for. And that's dude, Bekzat looked good against Umar. Brad Katona's not Umar. Bekzat didn't look good against Umar. He landed 4 strikes in that fight in total. He hit Umar with a great shot, so he does show that he has the power and can find shots, which could be a little concerning. But he landed a good shot on Umar, and even after that drop, he lost that round. He actually lost that round. He got 30-26. Maybe he didn't lose that round. He just got 10-8 in the second. And I know he didn't get any offense after that one drop. And if there's one thing Brad Katona's good at is taking the path of least resistance. I always say it every time a Brad Katona fights. It's taking the path of least resistance and is always stinking it up. He has no problem stinking it up. And Canada's not going to boo him out of the building. They might because he's going to have to stink it up, and he will. Bekzat Amakan's takedown defense is not good at all. Umar is a high-leveled wrestler, so maybe that's kind of skewing how good his takedown defense is. And I'm sure he knows Brad Katona's going to take me down. But Brad Katona's been durable over his whole career. He's been able to take his beatings, and he's never been finished. I don't know with the glaring code that Bekzat has, he's going to be the person to finish it, and I think he wins. He can win this off damage, I guess. But I am going to pick Brad Katona. I think a plus 3.5 on Brad Katona is pretty safe. He's going to try to sneak it up. Daniel Santos versus Lee. Daniel Santos, I'm definitely going to... This is a biased pick. This is my shoot to box brother. A lot of people saying this is short notice. This is short notice and it's upper weight class. But he has been in training camp. He was scheduled to fight maybe 2-3 weeks ago against Davey Grant. Fight fell off. I think because he was actually sick, actually. But I'm going to pick Lee. I don't think Lee's just so much better than Daniel. I think he's just going to be bigger. He's going to be bigger. He's going to be longer. He's going to be more physically imposing. But I don't think his skills are just that much better than Daniel's. Especially if he comes out there trying to bang. I don't know if Daniel's power is going to be able to translate well to featherweight. We'll see. But I don't think he's just so much better than Daniel to where he just blows him out of the water. But I am going to pick Lee by decision. I actually do think this goes the distance. Even though it's 2 chaotic fighters. I think he could be pretty sloppy in there. Marc-Andre Barriault versus Bruno Silva. I'm going to pick Marc-Andre Barriault. Bruno Silva just doesn't look like he has the fire anymore. Doesn't look like he wants to be in there anymore. I said in this last fight, I think it was against Ismail Duraev. That might be wrong. But I watched it. I watched it live. I want to say it was in China on a Peter Yan card. That could be wrong too. But I'm telling you, I watched it live. I watched it. And I actually picked him to win that fight. Crazy work. I know. But I picked him to win that fight. He's not winning. I don't think he's going to win ever again in the UFC. I'm surprised he's still in the UFC. I thought he was going to be cut after his last performance. I thought he was cut after his last performance. Marc-Andre Barriault, he's coming off of 2 KO losses. And Bruno Silva does possess power, but Bruno Silva's just not there anymore. And then whenever there is adversity, he'll just wilt and just be okay with making it to the decision. You know what I mean? Where Marc-Andre Barriault, you're going to have to kill him, and I think he'll be able to overwhelm Bruno and break him. I'm picking Marc-Andre Barriault by decision. Navajo Sterling versus Ivan Urslan. I'm going to give Navajo Sterling one more chance. I was there at Tampa live for his Tuco Tacos performance, and it wasn't as dominant as people say. Yeah, it wasn't. I think Tuco actually stole around. There might have been a split. I should have did my research. I did it, but I'm telling you, Tuco hung tough, and I think that's a good thing for Navajo Sterling to have, to know, okay, well, I'm just not going to get these guys out in the first round every time. That's a good thing to know, and maybe he can affect his game plan. Hopefully he doesn't get too gun shy, because he didn't really gas. He got tired, but he didn't really gas. He was still throwing volume. It was a very underwhelming performance. And Tuco Tacos is, not good at all, and he was the punching bag for majority of the fight, but he made it interesting in moments. Ivan Urslan, it's going to be a kickboxing matchup, and I think Navajo Sterling's the better kickboxer. Even though if Ivan does shoot, I don't think he's that great at it. Navajo should be all in on takedown defense because he's a kickboxer. He's already an accomplished kickboxer. He knows he can kickbox. So I assume at KCB that he's been training takedown defense. So I'm going to pick Navajo Sterling. I don't think he's going to finish Ivan Urslan. I don't. I think it's gonna go to decision in another underwhelming performance. I'm gonna be honest. Modestas Bukauskas versus Ion Cutelaba. Hey, I believe Cutelaba. I believe in Cutelaba. I'm picking Ion Cutelaba. I'm believing in the resurgence he's had in his career. Not that he's gonna go on some championship run or whatever, but it looks like he's taking his career more seriously, and he's really ready to get these dubs. He's wrestling more often than he should be wrestling. His striking is always gonna be Marauder-esque. He's a Marauder, but he's a smarter Marauder nowadays. He's more controlled in his striking, even though it's not that controlled at all. But he imposes his will out there, and Modestas Bukauskas strikes me as the guy who, whenever you do impose his will, and it can't be a pretty fight, even though he can muck it up too, and he's willing to throw in the fire, even though he's not that durable. Same thing for Cutelaba, but Modestas Bukauskas, I just fucked that up, but I'm not gonna edit that out. On the back foot, it's not that great. It's not that great. He can't really get his offense going. And I think Ion Cutelaba is literally going to be putting so much pressure on him until Modestas can't process what's coming at him. And I think Ion Cutelaba is going to win this fight. I think Ion Cutelaba is going to finish Modestas Bukauskas in round 2. Nah, round 1. Round 1. Jessica Andrade versus Jasmine Jusuda Vicious. I think this is a clear Jasmine Jusuda Vicious win in her hometown of Canada, positioning her to get back into those real contenders at flyweight. Jessica Andrade small. She's burly, but she's small. She's not rangy. Her boxing is pretty overrated. She does have power, but her power is almost overrated at this point because she's not getting KOs like talking about. And she's always just winging hooks from far away. Jasmine Judah Vicious has been showing elevations in her striking, which I love to see. She outstruck Mario Borna Silva. She's able to strike on the feet, and she's not really so reliant on the takedowns, but the takedowns should come if she mixes it up well. And Jessica Andrade just likes to come forward and just throw gnarly hooks. Now, I don't want Jasmine Judah Vicious on the back foot that much in this fight, because Jessica Andrade, she possesses an ability to come forward and wing hooks and be losing the entire time, but it just doesn't look that good. You know what I mean? Like against Natalia Silva, she was coming forward, she was winging hooks, and I'm like, I wonder how these judges are scoring these rounds, because these judges can't really trust them. And sometimes just coming forward, even if you're getting outpointed, you can win a fight. But I think Jasmine Jusuda Vicious is actually going to get this to the ground and do her thing. She's also a dog. She shows she can back down on the mouthpiece. When it gets tough and it ain't so easy, she'll go get it. I love her. I love Jasmine Jusuda Vicious, one of my favorite female fighters in the game. Now we got Mike Malott, her training partner, versus Charles Radke. This is one I've been going back and forth for, because Charles strikes me as a killer be killed guy, and Mike Malott just really isn't a killer. I think ever since his Neil Magny performance, he was very gun-shy in his Trevin Giles fight. Now, that could be an outlier because he did just get finished by Neil Magny. It was a bad look, and he was getting trashed for it. But against Trevin Giles, he came out very, very gun-shy, very, very patient, very, very safe. And Charles Radke's going to bring the fight to you. Like, you're not going to have a choice but to engage in the fire with Charles Radke. And it could go good for you or bad for you, but he's not going to give you a choice. I don't think Mike Malott is going to be able to best Charles on the ground. It could be interesting, some good scrambles, but I don't think he's going to be able to best Charles on the ground. And as far as on the feet, Charles could make it ugly, get in there, and with his power and his volume, and make things very, very interesting. But I'm not going to fade Mike Malott yet. He is on a parlay ban list. I'll never bet him again because I had him for Neil Magny, but I am going to pick Mike Malott. I think he's just a better fighter. I just think he has the better skills. But for me, what's making it hard for me is his fight game plan. Like he said in a embedded episode, this is going to be the bull versus the matador. So what do you mean you're going to be on the back foot? You're not going to try to fight? You're going to try to avoid the fight? Because that's not really that good for you. You know, and if that's the case, I think we should give Charles Radke another look. I almost played Charles Radke plus 3.5, but then again, I don't want to do that. I'd rather just play Charles Radke money line because he's kill or be killed, right? So it gets very interesting. If it goes late, it's going to get even more interesting for Charles Radke because he is a dog. He's going to be able to bow down on the mouthpiece, and Mike showed that when the going gets tough, he'll gas. But I don't want to overthink it that way. I'm going to pick Mike Malott. I'm going to pick Mike Malott by decision. Even though I just say he's kill or be killed. I know. Benoit Saint Denis versus Kyle, whoever you are. I didn't do no research. You're 12-7. Benoit Saint Denis declined the fight against Mateus Gamrot and accepted this one. So that tells me all I need to know. But Benoit Saint Denis know he got a layup. I'm just gonna assume it's a layup. I'm looking at the odds. I ain't do no research on you, Kyle. I'm be honest. Never seen you fight ever in your life. But I'm gonna pick BSD. I'm gonna pick BSD by finish. I don't even know what these 7 losses have come by. Like, if they were KOs, if they were decisions, or I don't give a fuck, okay? I'm kind of pissed because Joel Alvarez was going to be my casual parlay. I was so confident in that fight. But it doesn't matter. Hopefully they can rebook that fight. Hopefully, I would love to see that fight because I think it's easy money and I think it'd be fireworks. But I'm picking Benoit Saint Denis by finish. Who gives a fuck? Alexa Grasso versus Natalia Silva. Alexa Grasso, your time has come. I think we've severely overrated Alexa Grasso. Not to say that she's not good, because she is really good. She has good boxing. Her takedown on the fence is terrible. Fucking terrible. I don't give a fuck how, like you say, Valentina Shevchenko's a really good grappler, though. Okay, who gives a fuck? You fought 14 rounds with this woman and you weren't able to defend a single, like it wasn't the fact that there was really good shots. They were good time, but Alexa Grasso, like, wasn't even, like, close to defending a takedown. She wasn't feeding hips. She wasn't sprawling. She wasn't getting any underhook. She wasn't even close. Like, whenever Valentina dropped, Alexa damn near just fell to her back, just accepting the position. That's fucking horrible. So I think we severely overrated her. But I think it's going to be a primarily striking matchup, and I don't think she's on Natalia Silva's level when it comes to striking, the kickboxing, the lateral movement. She's super, super fast. Natalia Silva's in the casual parlay, by the way. The super fast movements, light on her feet. Nobody has better footwork than her in this division. She's going to be much faster. She throws the combinations. She blasts kicks. I love her kicks. I love her straight shots. I'm all over Natalia Silva. I think this one's going to be a clear Natalia Silva decision. Moving on, I got Jose Aldo versus Amin Zahabi. I'm gonna pick Jose Aldo. I think it's gonna be a primarily striking match. The thing about Jose Aldo, like, he makes fights competitive. Like, I truly believe he fights down to his competition. He really does. He fights down to his competition, and he doesn't have that same finishing upside anymore. He hasn't had that in years. He hasn't had a finish since 2019 against Renato Moicano, when Renato Moicano was killing himself to get to 145. But Jose Aldo is really fast. He has nice combinations. His boxing is always going to be there. The greatest takedown defense of all time, even though I want to start docking some points. Because, yeah, you're not getting taken down, but you're getting held against the fence. You know, there are a lot of people who, like you're not working hard to get off of the fence because it's like you want to protect that takedown record. Like, some people are actually in those positions won't get stuck there. They'll be able to scramble out. So I'm going to take some points off of there. But as far as just going to the mat, he's not getting taken down. But Amin Zahabi's really not going to shoot. He's going to engage in a striking matchup in Canada. You know, all the fireworks. He's going to engage. I think the way to beat Jose Aldo is fight like a pussy. And don't tell me Mario Batista will mar you. I know that. I hope he would. But I think you have to fight like a pussy to beat Jose Aldo. You have to hold. You have to make it ugly. You have to muck it up. But if you're, like, in a striking matchup, Jose Aldo's most likely going to pick you apart unless you're very, very elite. So I'm going to pick Jose Aldo. Speed, combinations, leg kicks. Even though he hasn't really been throwing those, he still checks those to a T. But I don't think it's going to be... A lot of people are saying this is going to be clear. I think the decision will be clear, but I think it'll be a pretty competitive fight. I don't think Jose's going to blow him out of the water. But I am going to pick Jose Aldo by decision. I think it goes the distance. I think fight to go the distance is a good play. Moving on, we got Valentina Shevchenko, and I'm so happy Manon Fiorot is going to beat Valentina convincingly and clearly. Valentina Shevchenko has such a hollow resume, and that's a harsh take. She does have really good wins. She has a Joanna Jędrzejczyk win. She has Jessica Andrade win. I know she has the Holly Holm win. She went to a split decision with Amanda Nunes. Some people feel like she won that fight. I understand that. But as of recent, she hasn't had one good striking performance since Lauren Murphy. Since Lauren Murphy, 4 years ago? And it's Lauren Murphy. Are we forgetting the Taylor Santos fight? Fucking horrible. Then the 3 fights with Alexa Grasso, no striking. She didn't engage in any striking because Alexa Grasso was clearly better than her in that, and she took the path of least resistance. That's what Valentina's on. She's evolving. She's getting older. She's evolving. She's understanding. She can't really hang with the elite everywhere. But usually with these girls, there's always a path of least resistance that she could take. Alexa Grasso, it was shooting the takedowns. With Mana Fiorot, I don't think there's a path of least resistance she can take. Yeah, she's going to be the better grappler than Mana Fiorot, but I don't think she's going to be able to take her down. Manon Fiorot has brick wall takedown defense. And on the feet, I think she's better. I think Valentina, the division has caught up with her as far as on the feet. Valentina, that flat-footed Muay Thai just doesn't work anymore. It just doesn't work anymore. It's like her reflexes just aren't the same anymore. That style relies on a lot of reflexes, and she gets tagged. She gets tagged, and she doesn't really tag anymore. You know what I mean? I think Manon Fiorot's going to out-volume her, out-pressure her, land more punches than her. And I think as far as the takedowns, they're going to look bad because Manon's just going to be shucking her off. I'm not going to say Valentina doesn't get any takedowns, but I don't think she's going to get a lot. I don't think she's going to get a lot at all. And if she does, I don't think she's going to be able to hold Manon Fiorot there. Manon Fiorot's performance against Rose Namajunas, she shattered. She had one hand in that fight. I don't care. It happened in the fight. Who gives a fuck? And her Erin Blanchfield performance shows me all I need to know, that she made Erin Blanchfield look miserable on her feet. Now Valentina might be she's a better striker than Erin Blanchfield, but Erin Blanchfield is known for wrestling. She's a nasty wrestler, and she could not do anything with Menon Firo. I think Menon Firo is gonna, I'm not gonna say run through, but I think she's gonna like clearly and convincingly be Valentina Shevchenko and validate my points that I've been making, that Valentina Shevchenko is washed and she's severely overrated nowadays. Not to take it away from anything in her legacy, but the new guard at 125, I think is just, I don't think she can hang. I think she can hang because Alexa Grasso, she was just exploiting the takedown defense, and it's like all she could do. It's like her last hope, but it was working. You know what I mean? Like, it was working. Like, the striking was not going her way. But those takedowns, like, it was her last hope, her last resort. And it was working, though. And you could tell because when she was on the ground, she wasn't looking to do any damage. She wasn't looking to hunt submissions. She was laying and praying. She was laying and praying, just trying to steal minutes. And fighting that style lets me know that you aren't what you used to be. And I think mentally she knows that she's not what she used to be. I think Manon Fiorot is going to do her pretty badly, I'm be honest. Bilal Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddalena. As the fight gets closer, I'm picking Bilal. I made a video about this. Check the playlist. But I'm getting less confidence in Bilal. I'll say that because Jack Della Maddalena isn't a guy who gives up on himself. You know, doesn't crumble under pressure. Leon Edwards is a guy who's always going to make the most out of every opportunity he gets whenever he is down and he does need to push the pace. But early, he's going to be patient. Like the first 2 to 3 rounds, I think he's going to be patient. At least the first 2. Like, I think he'll drop the first 2 before he really picks up the pace. And then at that point, it may be too late. Maybe too late because Bilal's going to get that train going. But the first two rounds, like, he doesn't really rely on a lot of power because he just wants to touch guys. He just wants to place guys. He just wants to land combinations. It's not really big power. He's just touching guys. And it's kind of low volume at times where Bilal's going to have the volume chain wrestle. You know what I mean? And I know that Gilbert Burns took Jack Della Maddalena down 7 times. And yes, Jack Della Maddalena is a escape artist on the ground. Like, he's going to work. Like, it's not going to be hard to hold Jack Della Maddalena down. Like, he'll give up a bad position just to give himself a chance to get up, which is, I can appreciate that because don't just concede around. You know what I mean? But I'm picking Bilal, man. Like, I think the later the fight goes, it could get more interesting. But I'm picking Bilal. Now, Bilal actually does do the Canelo hands and doesn't shoot a single takedown. Then throw everything I said out the window. Jack Della Maddalena by KO. But if he does, like, fight the good game plan, and then even at space, Bilal can fight 2 game plans. He can, like, overwhelm you with pressure and chain wrestle. Or he can fight on the outside. And I'm not going to say beat Jack, but stay safe and time his takedowns even more that way. Because he does have really good kicks at range, and it could shut down the way Jack closes the distance. I just think Bilal has more ways to win where a lot of people are thinking, well, Jack wins, it's a finish. You know what I mean? I guess there's a world where Jack can win on damage, but his volume isn't high enough to win on damage unless he's actually rocking you or dropping you. You know what I mean? So I'm going to pick Bilal Muhammad by decision to retain his title. And this is what we need because we need Islam versus Ilia Topuria International Fight Week. Like, comment, subscribe, share this to somebody I know they enjoy just like you did. You ain't got to go home, but you got to get up out of here, man. Yeet.